380,000 people live on an active volcanic island in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean. The ground beneath them erupts every 3 to 4 years. In 2023, a new volcanic system opened just 30 miles from the capital, forcing the evacuation of an entire town overnight. The lava is still flowing. This is a country where the earth moves beneath your feet, where winter darkness lasts 20 hours a day, and where a basic apartment costs more than a house in most of Europe. So what is life actually like for the people who live here? Iceland sits just below the Arctic Circle, where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates are actively tearing apart. The island is literally growing by 2 centimeters every year. 32 active volcanic systems run through the country. Earthquakes are so common that Icelanders have an app that rates them like weather updates. The entire population would fit into a mid-sized European city. More than 2/3 live in the capital region around Reykjavik. Outside these clusters, you can drive for an hour and see nothing but black lava fields and moss. The interior highlands are completely uninhabited, no roads, no towns, just glaciers and volcanic desert. The first permanent settlers arrived from Norway in the 9th century. They found an island covered in birch forests. Within 300 years, they had cut down almost all of it for building material and firewood. Today, less than 2% of Iceland is forested. What you see now, those endless rocky landscapes, is largely the result of medieval deforestation and volcanic soil erosion. The economy used to run on fishing. For centuries, that was it: dried cod shipped to Europe, salted fish to Mediterranean markets. Then in the 1970s, Iceland discovered it was sitting on something else valuable: cheap, endless geothermal energy. Today, 85% of all homes are heated directly from underground hot water. Electricity comes almost entirely from geothermal and hydroelectric power. Energy is so abundant and inexpensive that Iceland became a magnet for aluminum smelting and data centers, industries that need massive amounts of electricity. Tourism exploded after the 2008 financial crisis. That year, Iceland's 3 largest banks collapsed, the currency lost half its value overnight, and the government had to be bailed out by the IMF. In desperation, they made it easier and cheaper for foreigners to visit. It worked. Before the crisis, 300,000 tourists came each year. By 2018, that number hit 2.3 million, 6 times the local population. A small 2-bedroom apartment in Reykjavik will cost you around 400,000 euros to buy. Not in the historic center, just a standard residential building. Rent for that same apartment runs about 1,500 euros a month. In a country where the median salary is roughly 4,000 euros after tax, that leaves very little room. Most Icelanders live in low-rise concrete apartment blocks built in the 1960s and 70s, or small detached houses with corrugated metal siding. The houses look charming in photos, brightly painted blues, reds, yellows, but they are almost all identical inside: 2 or 3 bedrooms, radiant floor heating from geothermal water, double-glazed windows to keep out the cold and wind. The bright paint is a Scandinavian tradition, a way to break the visual monotony of the long winter. Construction costs are staggering. All timber must be imported. So must concrete, steel, and most fixtures. A modest family home can easily cost 600,000 euros to build. Young Icelanders increasingly cannot afford to buy, so they rent, or they live with parents well into their 20s. Groceries are equally expensive. A gallon of milk costs about 6 euros. A loaf of bread is 4 euros. Vegetables are shipped in from mainland Europe or grown in geothermal greenhouses, tomatoes grown year-round under artificial light powered by volcanic heat. A dinner for 2 at a mid-range restaurant runs 80 to 100 euros, and that is without wine. Wine is expensive because Iceland taxes alcohol heavily. A bottle that costs 8 euros in Spain will cost 25 here. You cannot buy alcohol in regular grocery stores. There is a state-run chain called Venbin, the wine shop, and that is the only legal retail option. Beer was actually banned entirely in Iceland until 1989. Most families own a car, because public transport outside Reykjavik barely exists. But cars are also expensive. Import taxes add 40 to 50% to the price. A used Toyota that would cost €12,000 in Germany costs 20 here. Gas runs about €2 per liter. Despite all this, Icelanders consistently rank among the happiest people in the world. Part of that comes down to what they do not have to pay for. Healthcare is nearly free. University is free. Geothermal heating means energy bills are low. There is no anxiety about medical bankruptcy or student debt. The Icelandic workweek is shorter than most of Europe. A standard full-time job is 37 to 40 hours, but increasingly, companies are experimenting with 4-day weeks. Trials run between 2015 and 2019 showed productivity stayed the same or improved, and worker well-being increased. Now, roughly 86% of the workforce has either moved to shorter hours or won the right to negotiate them. Unemployment is extremely low, usually under 4%. The labor market is tight. Industries struggle to find workers. That is one reason why Iceland has opened its doors to foreign labor. About 15% of the population is now foreign-born, many from Poland, Lithuania, and the Philippines. They work in fish processing, construction, tourism, and healthcare. Wages are relatively high. A nurse earns around €45,000 a year. A teacher makes similar. A software engineer can make $70,000 or more. But remember, a significant portion goes to housing and food. Education is free from primary school through university. Icelandic children start school at age 6, though most attend preschool from age 2. The school day is short, usually 8 in the morning until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. After-school care is available, but it costs money, and for many families it is a significant monthly expense. Higher education is split between the University of Iceland in Reykjavik and a handful of smaller institutions. Many students go abroad for specialized degrees, particularly to Denmark, Norway, or the UK. The government offers student loans with favorable terms, but there is no tuition to cover, only living expenses. Healthcare is tax-funded and comprehensive. You pay a small fee to see a general practitioner, about €30, but hospital treatment, surgery, and emergency care are free. Prescription drugs are subsidized. Dental care, however, is not included. That is private and expensive. Mental health services are widely used and destigmatized. Icelanders see therapists at higher rates than most countries. The long, dark winters contribute to seasonal depression, and the culture has adapted by treating mental health care as routine maintenance. Icelanders eat a lot of fish. Not because it is traditional, though it is, but because it is one of the few affordable proteins. A kilo of fresh cod or haddock costs less than imported chicken or beef. Lamb is the luxury meat, grazed on highland pastures in summer and eaten at holidays. Beef is almost entirely imported. Breakfast is often simple: bread, butter, cheese, maybe smoked salmon. Skyr, a thick, yogurt-like dairy product, is eaten daily. Lunch is frequently soup or a sandwich. Dinner tends to be fish or lamb, boiled potatoes, and vegetables. Icelanders are not known for culinary flair. The food is plain, functional, and filling. There is a culture of weekend baking, pancakes, cleaner, a twisted fried dough, and layer cakes for birthdays. Coffee is consumed constantly. Icelanders are among the top coffee drinkers per capita in the world. Transport between towns happens by car or by small domestic flights. There is no passenger train system. The Ring Road, Route 1, circles the island, connecting most coastal towns, but in winter it can close for days due to snow or ice. Driving in Iceland requires vigilance. Roads are two-lane, poorly lit, and often bordered by sheer drops or rivers. Sheep wander freely in summer. Tourists frequently crash. Reykjavik has a bus system, but it is slow and infrequent. Most people drive or bike. In winter, cycling is difficult, ice and wind make it dangerous. Studded tires are mandatory for cars from November through April. Social life centers on small gatherings at home, or weekend trips to geothermal pools. Iceland has more than 100 public pools, all heated by volcanic water. They are the closest thing to a town square, places where neighbors meet, children learn to swim, and teenagers hang out on Friday nights. Locals go multiple times per week. The pools are open year-round, and swimming outdoors in February while snow falls around you is considered perfectly normal. Iceland has one of the highest birth rates in Europe, yet more than 70% of children are born to unmarried parents. Marriage is simply not a priority. Couples live together, have children, and may or may not marry later. There is no social stigma. Single parenthood is also common and fully supported by the state, generous parental leave, subsidized childcare, and child benefits that continue until age 18. Both parents typically work full-time. Parental leave is split, 3 months for the mother, 3 months for the father, and 3 months shared. Fathers taking leave is not optional, it is expected. Daycare is available from age 1, though spots are limited and waiting lists can be long. Family sizes are small, most couples have 2 children, some 3. Extended family is important. Grandparents often provide informal childcare. Sunday dinners together are still common. Icelandic culture is intensely egalitarian. There is no aristocracy, no inherited wealth class, no formal titles. The president lives in a small house and shops at the same supermarket as everyone else. People address each other by first name, regardless of age or status. The phone book is alphabetized by first name because most Icelanders do not use hereditary surnames, they use patronymic or matronymic naming. John, son of Gunnar, becomes John Gunnarsson. His sister becomes Anna Gunnarsdóttir. Community is tight because the population is small. Everyone knows someone who knows you. This creates accountability but also a lack of anonymity. Gossip travels fast. Privacy is limited. Icelanders are avid readers. The country publishes more books per capita than anywhere else on Earth. 1 in 10 Icelanders will publish a book in their lifetime. There is a tradition called Jólakafl, the Christmas book flood, where most new titles are released in the weeks before Christmas, and families give each other books on Christmas Eve, then spend the evening reading. The most common misconception about Iceland is that it is frozen year-round. It is not. Summers are cool but green. Reykjavik's average July high is 13 degrees Celsius, cold by Mediterranean standards, but not Arctic. The Gulf Stream keeps temperatures moderate. It rarely drops below -10, even in January. Another myth, that everyone believes in elves. Surveys show that a majority of Icelanders say they do not disbelieve in hidden people, huldufolk, but that is not the same as belief. It is cultural agnosticism. Construction projects occasionally reroute around large rocks said to house elves, but this is less about superstition and more about respecting folklore and not tempting fate. It is tradition, not religion. People assume Iceland is remote and isolated. It is and it is not. Reykjavik is a 5-hour flight from New York, 3 hours from London. Icelanders travel constantly, they are among the most traveled people per capita. Many have lived abroad, speak multiple languages, and return home because they prefer the lifestyle, not because they are trapped. The Viking image is marketing. Modern Icelanders are not seafaring warriors. They are software developers, nurses, tour guides, and fishermen. The sagas are taught in school, but they are literature, not identity. What surprises outsiders most is how normal life is. People go to work, pick up children from school, shop for groceries, watch Netflix, complain about the weather. The difference is they do it in a place where the earth is still forming, where winter nights stretch 20 hours, and where the northern lights are a regular commute backdrop. The real challenge is not the cold or the darkness. It is the cost. Young families struggle to afford homes. Small businesses close because rent is unsustainable. The tourism boom brought money but also strain, overcrowding, environmental damage, rising prices. Icelanders are proud of their country, but they are also weary of being a spectacle. Iceland is not a fantasy. It is a small, expensive, geologically unstable island where people work hard, pay high taxes, and live quietly. They heat their homes with water from beneath the ground. They raise children in a place where the sun disappears for months and the earth splits open without warning. They do not live here because it is easy. They live here because it is theirs. 380,000 people on an active volcano in the open ocean. They would not trade